Yo, Handle here with Average Use Slow-Pitch. Today we're bringing you part 2 of the One Piece Challenge. Hopefully you got a chance to watch our One Piece Challenge from about 3-4 weeks ago. But we had some people reach out, let us know that we forgot some companies, which we know we didn't have all the companies at the time. We had to reach out to different people, get different bats. So we'll go ahead, you'll see here in a second kind of the specs, what we've got out here on all of these. But again, we'll take them out, put them on compression. Once we're done with that, we're gonna do just like the last video. We're just gonna have just a handful of swings on each, good barrels with both 52s and Pro-Ms. From there, we're gonna go back to the garage so we can do the tees, just like last time, try to keep it as even as possible, do the velo test with Pro-Ms and with 52s, and then kind of final thoughts. So let's get it. All right, for this One Piece Challenge, we've now got the Suncoast for you, 12-inch barrel Ruckus Max One Piece. We've got the Pure Berserker Battle Axe. This is gonna be similar or pretty much identical to the NDM1 from this past year, just a different end cap from what we were told. The Anarchy Bazooka, and then the Onyx Big Chef Edition Momentum. And we've got another Genesis out here simply because we're out here recording the video for it anyway, so why not include it? We've got 13-inch balanced Black Widow, people are calling it. So each of these, thanks, shout out to all the different followers who reached out to us, sent some of these over so we can bring you kind of the other brands here. Once we're done, we're sending pretty much all of these, other than that Jenny, back to who sent it to us. So we'll go ahead, like we talked about, get all the swings for you, get the rest of the data, and at the end, you'll see the graphic from the first One Piece Challenge mixed in with the graphic from this one, so you can see the comparison of all the bats here in one video. All right, real quick for our compression here on our One Pieces for the comparison, we're gonna start again with Big Chef's exclusive Onyx Momentum. And this one's testing for us right at 250. So we got 250 on the Onyx. We've got a Suncoast, the 12-inch model in load here. This one's got, I don't know, a ton of swings on it. We'll see where this tests at. Pick this up from a buddy. And right at 220, so it's definitely failing. Let's go ahead, quarter turn real quick. Only Suncoast we got though, so this is the one we're still gonna be using, but you're gonna have to take that for a grain of salt. There we go, let it sit at 0. That's a little bit better. That side's just a little bit under 240. So we've got a 250, we've got basically a 230 on the Suncoast. At least the numbers are somewhat close. We've got the Pure Berserker, basically the same platform as the NDM1, just a different end cap is what I was being told. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and use for this one. Also has swings on it. We'll see where this one's at. Let that sit at 0. And another 220 for us. So quarter turn like we always do on anything that's below 240. There it is. 220. All right, so we got 220 on the Pier, 230 on the Suncoast, 250 on the Chef, Anarchy Bazooka. This one only has about 100 swings on it, maybe slightly more. And this one, let's see, let's fix that real quick. Hang on. We're gonna dial this off. This thing just went loose on us. Oh, it wasn't loose. All right, I lost my mind. All right, anyways, try that again. Dial this up to 0. And it's sitting way under 200. So, I mean, we'll still throw it on here so you can see what the Anarchy can do. But if you care about testing, this thing's not gonna do any good. And again, this thing's at like 100 swings right now. So, yeah, like 175. We'll go ahead real quick, throw the Louisville. I know we had a Louis on the last one, but we've got a Louis out here with us anyways, the new One Piece balance. So we'll throw that on here for you too. And, oops, too far. And this one is now sitting at still just under 275. So we've got some varying differences here in compression. Just to show you, we've got the calibration disc, 350 plus or minus 25, just to show this was on calibration and everything's good to go. Dial that up to 0. And there we are, just a hair over 350, so right within the calibration. Let's go and get these bats out there. We'll do some swings, final compression, and then velo. All right, first up, the One Piece 12-inch Ruckus Max. So again, just like before, if you saw the first one, if you didn't, we're looking for basically 2 to 3 good barrels with each bat. So that's with 52s and then with Pro-Ms. And then we'll switch, once you're done with all of them, again, back to the garage, off the tee for the velo, then kind of get you that final data. right, well, there's our two barrels with 52s. We'll swap over to Pro-Ms, see how the Pro-Ms perform, which is what most of you probably care about with these. I know some people swing the 52s, but let's check out these Pro-Ms. First thing you notice, this one is a great sound. All right, and let's go ahead, move on over to the Big Chef Onyx Momentum. As far as Suncoast goes with the 52s, felt good, not too soft for a lower compression bat, and with the Pro-Ms, did what it's supposed to do. Felt great, the good Suncoast sound. Now we'll hop over to Big Chef's Onyx Momentum. All right, well, this thing smashes 52s. Let's see how the Pro-Ms do. All right, a nice little missile launcher here. All right, well, there's our barrels with the momentum, and so far here, this is easily the #1 spot for both 52s and Pro-Ms, and I'd say not even particularly close. There's something different about Big Chef's Onyx. Whatever he did to get Onyx to build him a one piece that's this good, good for you, buddy. Let's hop over now to the Pure Berserker. Again, this is an NDM1 platform. Different end cap is pretty much the only difference from what I'm being told. Well, that ball jumped off of it. All right, Pro-M time, Pro-M time. All right, honestly, good pop off the NDM1 for being a little lower compression. Would have thought it would come off a little bit better, but not too bad overall. Pretty close between this and the Suncoast as far as that 2-spot currently. I think for Pro-Ms, I like the Suncoast a little bit better. This one had a softer feel for me. Honestly, for most of the Pures, I feel like the barrels are a little bit softer at times, but that's all personal preference thing. But as far as the 52s, I've got to have this one pretty close. I'm still going to give Chefs a slight edge for now. But let's swap over, and we're gonna go ahead and try out the Anarchy Bazooka next. Not too bad on the 52s. Let's see these Pro-Ms. So not too bad for a bat testing, I think nearly 175, but honestly between the four of them, this is 4 out of 4 on the 52s. As far as performance of the Pro-Ms, it's probably close to the Pier, but again, I think for me, that's just a personal preference thing. This barrel does feel stiffer than the Pier, but not a ton of carry off of it, it felt like, but who knows. Again, a lot of this could be personal preference. That's kind of why we take it to the velo, so we can see what those numbers are giving us off of there. So we'll go ahead, swap over to the last one, the Black Widow Genesis, and then we'll take them all back to the garage that we talked about. One more, Joe, or just one? Off the little pull up there. I'm telling you, these things handle 52s differently than other bats, but I think the Big Chefs might still be the 52 winner currently. Let's see what these Pro-Ms can do. What I mean. Yeah. The blue building, that'll do it. Well, there you have it. There's our barrels, all our bats. I think the Big Chef and the Black Widow headed to the garage with Velo, these are gonna be the ones that are gonna battle out here. We'll see if either one can take that top spot away from the one-piece Ressy from part one. But if you can get over the sound on the Jennies, they perform great. They handle 52s, handle Pro-Ms. Again, Big Chefs, it's murdering balls. So we're gonna go ahead, back to the garage with all 5 of them, see what we got. All right, up first, we've got the Suncoast Ruckus Max. We're pretty much just gonna roll through these. We'll go Ruckus Max first, then we're gonna jump into the Anarchy Bazooka, the Pure Berserker, the Onyx Momentum, Big Chef's obviously signature bat, and then finish with that Black Widow Louisville. So in an effort to keep this video from being too long, we're gonna show you the top 52 speed for the swing, the top U-trip speed, and then from there, at the end, just like you saw with the last one-piece comparison, we'll throw a chart up at the end. Again, we'll modify that so it shows you the data from the first video, data from the second video, and you can kind of see all the one pieces right there in one place. So let's get after it.
101 miles per hour. 106 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 102 miles per hour. 101 miles per hour. 103 miles per hour. 105 miles per hour. 107 miles per hour. 105 miles per hour. 108 miles per hour.
All right, now that we got swings here on all our one pieces, let's go ahead and kind of see where they ended. I know we had some kind of all over the place compressions to start, but let's at least see where they ended. So that helps us kind of validate the numbers and compare it to video number 1 that we had out a couple weeks ago. First up, the Suncoast, again, 12-inch Ruckus Max. This one had a ton of swings on it to start, so we kind of expect it to be lower. And it's dead on 240, so still right there. I think it was just a hair below 240 we tested the first time, but again, I mean, it can fluctuate. That's how it works. This time it's not in the sun, which can probably help as well. Before it was in the car for a little while, but. All right, Anarchy Bazooka. Let's hope this one comes back up. This was at like 175 when we started. Let it sit at 0. And not by much, just under 200 there. On any bat we get that low, we always quarter turn just to see if we get something a little bit different. So we'll quarter turn to the Bazooka side to 0. Yep, and just under. So that one's sitting well under 200. So we'll talk all about that more in the final thoughts. It may matter to those who test, or will matter to those who test, but for those who don't, you may not care at all anyway. So the Pure NDM 1 base, but it's the Berserker. That's sit at 1, or sorry, let that sit at 0. And right at 220, so still hasn't moved much from where it started for us. We'll go ahead and quarter turn like we talked about with anything that fails. And pretty much 220 again. So all right, 2 of ours have failed, 1's right on the line. This one I'm most intrigued about. Started at 250. Not a bunch of swings on it since we did this, so we'll see. But we did also do the individual video for this one, so it does have about 75 swings on it at this point. And look at that, still dead on 250. That's exactly what you want to see from a bat. Again, it started at 250, 75 to maybe 100 swings, and we're still at 250. And last but not least, the Black Widow Louisville Slugger Genesis 13-inch balanced one piece, obviously. Dial that up to 0 as well. And a little over 250, as expected. It happens with all the power coil Louis. So we got our test complete. Let's go ahead and talk about this a little more in the final thoughts. All right, and we're field swing, velo, and compression test complete here with our one-piece models for the one-piece comparison showdown. And all in all, they again all performed pretty darn close to one another. Let's go ahead and kind of take a look at each one's individual performance. All right, and starting left to right here, we started with the Suncoast Ruckus Max one-piece. This is that 12-inch model. Again, this one came to us with about, from my understanding, 3, 4, even 500 swings. It was somewhere way up there. They basically said, hey, we lost count, we've had it for a while, but if you're looking for a Suncoast, here you go. So shout out to our buddy over there for sending this one out. But as you saw there, it was testing right at 240, slightly under 240 when we were out at the fields, which kind of makes sense. It was out there, a little hot in the sun, things like that. But still, sitting right at 240 and passing. Performed well, as you'll see here shortly. We're gonna go ahead and throw up the average numbers for 52s as well as with Pro-Ms for the actual numbers themselves. But purely from a personal preference, kind of how it swung, it's got a great sound, a great feel. Suncoasts have always really had a good sweet spot in sound overall. However, on this one, if you catch it a little bit lower high, it is broken enough at this point, you're not getting terrible feedback. You will get a little sting in your hands when it's low, but honestly, that's kind of to be expected with most one pieces. Plus, I like kind of the feedback to know where I caught that ball and kind of how well it came off based on where I've caught that ball. Moving over to the Bazooka. This one was probably the most shocking for me as far as compression goes. The guy we got it from, he said, hey, I've had it for a very little amount of time. It's got maybe 100 swings on it, all, like Pro-M's, normal kind of BP type balls. But even with that being said, it tested well under 200, and even both at the field and here back at the garage. So when we decided to swing it, I was hoping it would kind of perform based on where the compression was at, but we'll have to, again, show you the numbers here in the end. I don't believe it really outperformed or did anything exceptional based on where the compression's at. So that's just something to keep in mind. I don't know at what point it failed compression, but again, if it was at about 100 swings, sounds like this is something you're going to game immediately. If you go back, we did have a Bazooka video for you as well. They do take a little while to break in my opinion. So if you're somebody who cares about compression, maybe not the route to go, but we'll go ahead, like I said, show the numbers, let you make a decision on your own there. Then we were able to get the Berserker Battle Axe from, again, another person. We reached out kind of looking for these other brands that we didn't have in the first part, and a bunch of people kind of came through for us. So we were able to grab that one relatively cheap. From my understanding, it had about 150 to 200 swings, so kind of makes sense sitting right at 220. We've never had great luck with the NDM1s. They're typically very game ready, not meant for a lot of BP swings, so it made sense that it was down at the, I believe, 230 or 220 mark. But again, if you don't care about compression testing, not a huge issue there. If you do, just know these bats are typically game ready. But as far as what we're doing here, it kind of sat kind of in the middle of the pack, a little above with the Bazooka, pretty darn close to the Ruckus Max, and you'll see again on the numbers here shortly kind of where that ranked. Plus here at the end, I am going to put up a list between these 5 and then our previous, I believe, was 7 from the first video on where I rank them personally. Just know that I am factoring in compression for my own personal rankings because I care about the compression side of things as well. Then again, for big shout out to Big Chef. His momentum absolutely killed it. Killed the 52s, killed the Pro-Ms. I believe it beat out the Genesis for the top speed off of the Pro-Ms, but I could be wrong. Again, I'll post that graphic up for you. Got to go back, go through all the footage and look at that. However, either way, it was real darn close. So one of the top ones up there had a feel very, very similar to that one-piece Ressy. It didn't quite emulate the speeds we got with the one-piece Ressy, but I'll tell you, it's pretty darn close. And if you need a bat that you can actually get that's in stock, head over to Onyx, look for that momentum. They are available now to order for that. And again, reach out to Big Chef, give him a big shout out, head over, check out his channel. He has some great videos over there. Hopefully me and him will get to collab here in the near future as well. And then lastly, not a lot to say here. You saw Jenny on the previous video. Again, we were out there already testing or putting together the video for this Jenny, so we figured why not include it. And as always, it's always right there with the top of the pack. Great with 52s, great with Pro-Ms. Occasionally they have durability issues to an extent, but even then for us, we hardly break them and we never do the break-in procedure. The biggest issue we run into is the paint seams, which again is our own fault for not following the break-in procedure, but you can't go wrong with kind of the Jenny there as well. But all in all, I'm glad to see we were able to get all of these out of there. I think we've got most of the brands for the one pieces at this point. In the future, as more and more companies drop them, we can try to bring these back, do different ones there as well. We are gonna work on getting some other models out there, so we'll go with, hey, favorite 12-inch barrel, favorite 13, balance, things like that. We just have to work on kind of getting our hands on all the bats that we need for that as well. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this was informative. Stay tuned at the end of this final thoughts for kind of my rankings with all these one pieces, as well as the final numbers that compare the part 1 video showdown to this part 2 video as well. And thanks for supporting the channel. Have a great day.